Hello card gamers. In this video, I am going to show you 18 new decks. 8 literally for all the set 2 leaders. I'm going to have another video for new set 2 decks for the set 1 leaders that will be coming maybe alongside this, maybe right after it. But we've got this one for you today that is all of the set 2 leaders, one deck for each of them. They might not be the most optimal way to play them, and you know, there's so many different ways with the different colors and stuff that you can play some of the things, but I think I've got a lot of interesting choices for you here today, and we're just gonna go through them. And there's a few really exciting ones in here that I'm excited to show you, and yeah, let's just get into it. This video is sponsored by Oasis Games. You can get all your TCG supplies, singles, and pre-orders at oasisgames.slc.com. They have an inclusive and welcoming Star Wars Unlimited community that meets on Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. here in Salt Lake City. Be sure to check out the event calendar and the links in the description and the pinned comment. And thanks Oasis Games for sponsoring this video. This is going to be not that exciting because it's Finn. This was a challenge. ECL Finn 1.0 right here. We've basically, you know, it's a Ewing reinforcement deck. I mean, I figured, you know, if you got ECL, your deck might not be entirely terrible. So what we've got here is we got Ewing reinforcement, we got Luke Skywalker, and we've got some ramp in the form of Spark of Hope and the Marauder. You'll notice I'm not playing resupply in here, and I just decided that, I don't know, I'd rather play Spark of Hope for some reason. This is not tested. I'm just showing you, I spent several hours creating all of these decks, and some of them were really hard to try to trim down to 50, but each of these decks are 50 card decks, and they're good starting baselines. That's what I want you to take with this video. Is a lot of these lists are going to be like solid baselines if you're trying to do this color combination with this leader. It might not necessarily be the best color with the leader as we're going through all of them, but in here, obviously I'm playing green, so I'm playing Cobb Vanth. We can get Maz Kanata, we can get the ships, Battlefield Marine, and basically what I want, Finn's ability says, if you don't know, you tap him, defeat a friendly upgrade on a unit. If you do, give a shield token to that unit. So basically what I did is Maz, I can't remember how to say her name, Kanata, she gets an experience token whenever you play a unit, so you can do that effect on her. The Clan Ren Rescuer, when played, gives an experience token to a unit, so that can be to anything. And then we have Inspiring Mentor, one of the more recently revealed cards, which is an upgrade that you can place on a non-vehicle that says the attached unit gains on attack, and when defeated, give an experience token to another friendly unit. So unfortunate that the Inspiring Mentor can't give the experience token to the single unit, but that is kind of how green cards work a lot of the time. They care about you having units on the board. And so Inspiring Mentor could essentially become a token generator. You attack, get an experience token. Finn defeats the experience token, turns it into a shield. This is probably not good, but this is probably as good as Finn gets for now. We've got Concord Dawn Interceptors, just good heroism spaceship, Sentinel, the Sundari Peacekeeper, Raid 2, Restore 2, solid unit. Wouldn't mind getting an experience token, wouldn't mind getting a shield token. I did try to go with a little bit of a Mandalorian sub-theme in here. It's not fully decked out with Mandalorians, but, you know, we've got the Clan Ren Rescuer, the Concord Dawn Interceptors are Mandalorian, as well as the Peacekeeper. Then we put the Mandalorian unit, Mandalorian Warrior in here, that when played gives an experience token to another Mandalorian unit. So you can turn that into a shield token. And then we've also got the Armorer in here to just maybe you have a couple other things, and she gives shields, just straight up gives shields. Don't even have to convert them with Finn. And then the other thing we've got here is we've got General Raken, or let's get his name right. I don't know, Riken. that has a when played and on attack effect that says choose a friendly unit. If it's a Sentinel, give it an experience token. Otherwise, give it Sentinel for the phase. And then the cute thing that you can do, and kind of why we've got Energy Conversion Lab here, is you can use Energy Conversion Lab with General Riken. If you don't have a Sentinel on board already, he can make himself a Sentinel or anything else. And then you attack with the ECL ambush, and then it can give that Sentinel an experience token. And then you can use Finn to turn it into a shield. It's, yeah. It's a little convoluted, but here we go. And then I put the Marauder in here. It has ambush, and then when played, you choose a card in your discard pile. Put it into play as a resource if it shares a name with a unit you control. It's just another form of ramp, and as we know from Han, Green Han particularly, that ramping up into a U-Wing is pretty strong, so maybe you get to do that with this deck sometimes. And it's also just an ambush unit in space. It's not bad. And then we also have modded cohort ambush unit. Solid. And then I just decided literally, yeah, just put some takedowns in here for some interaction. And then the main combo is the solo combo. Is literally Finn and Rose Tico. If you don't know, Rose is a 4-cost 2/6 that comes into play shielded. But on attack, you can defeat a shield token on a friendly unit. If you do, give 2 experience tokens to that unit. So Rose and Finn together create infinite value because she has a shield, she attacks, and you could do that with ECL if you needed to, and then she can give herself 2 experience tokens. Then Finn can defeat one of the experience tokens, give her a shield again. So now she has a shield and an experience token. Then the next turn you can attack with Rose again, defeat her shield, give her 2 more experience tokens. Now she has 3 experience tokens. Then you can have Finn convert it into a shield again. And then you just do that for the rest of your life. And yeah, that's it. There you go. We're gonna, holy frick, we're gonna have to try to go faster. We're 7 minutes in. I'm gonna try to not explain everything. Here we go. Next one, Gar, what is it? Gar Saxon. And I made him yellow. So you've probably seen some people have some of this idea already. It's not the most revolutionary thing, but he says each friendly upgraded unit gets +1 power. Shields count as an upgrade. If the unit has a shield on it already, it just has +1 power. So that's really good. So we put some shielded units in here. Crafty Smuggler, Doctor, Evazan, 7th Fleet Defender, the Client. Lompike can make shields, but Lompike's honestly just in here because Lompike's good. And then the Super Commando Squad, they come into play with a shield. And then they only have Sentinel if they are upgraded, but you could, you know, once it dies, you know, it's okay. It's okay. It doesn't have Sentinel or shield anymore, but maybe a 5/4 Sentinel's pretty good. Cargo Juggernaut, it heals you and is a 5/6 maybe. That's solid. And then the spaceship, Clan Saxon Gauntlet, it's Sentinel. And then when that ship is specifically attacked, you can give an experience token to another unit, and then an experience token counts as an upgrade, which then you get an extra +1 power from Gar Saxon. And then Enfys Nest is just in here because it's ambush, it's solid, it makes all your ambushes better. Lom and Bossk are ambushes as well, and then as well as, you know, Cloud Rider. Not that Cloud Rider's ever going to survive anything, even with Enfys Nest on the board, but and then we got a 2-cost ship because we want some good 2-drops. The Client's pretty solid for just being a 3/5 with Gar Saxon, and then you can just put bounties on stuff, and whenever your opponent wants to like attack into the Client, they're taking 3 on the first hit. And the other thing in here is Relentless Pursuit, which is super insane with bounty hunters. And then we've got a bunch of bounty hunters. We got Bossk, we got Toro, Boba Fett, Lom, and being able to capture a unit, and then it's going to put a shield on it because it's a bounty hunter. So I'll have +1 power there. Seems pretty solid. And then I opted for Rivals Fall in here just because it's new. You know, I was like, we'll just put the Rivals Fall in here instead of Vanquish. And then we've got the standard kind of blue kill spells of Power of the Dark Side takedown. There we go. I think it's good. I think it's probably be good. Actually, I think it'll be good. All right, next we have Red Qi'ra. All right, so there's probably a bunch of ways that Qi'ra can be built. I have no idea how good this possibly could be. I think she's probably going to be great in whatever color you decide to play her with. But here we go. We've got at the top end just Palpatine. I didn't know exactly how I wanted this to be. I figured she's not trying to control into the like infinite endgame and drop huge bombs. I figured that especially with red, you're trying to be at least a little bit faster. And so there's just 2 Palpatine in here at the top end. And I figured I'm just trying to play units, give them shields, maybe play a couple units a turn, give one of them a shield when we get to the end game. And then we've got some standard removal, Power of the Dark Side takedown, of course, and then also 2 Rivals Fall. I decided to put 2 Vigilance in here just because, like, I don't know, maybe you would find some value in that. Just, you know, killing something and healing 5. And then we've got some grit units. Kind of why I wanted to go with red, even though the only grit unit I ended up playing is the Death Watch Loyalist, which has grit and overwhelm. But, you know, can you imagine you literally, I don't know, like turn 4, you play Death Watch Loyalist, and then you have Qi'ra do 2 damage to it and give it a shield, so then it's a 5-1 with a shield, and you can just start hitting your opponent in the face with it. And just start hitting them. And then if you ever need to attack a unit, you can attack a unit, your unit still lives, and the Death Watch Loyalist has 5 power in that situation, so it's probably dealing overwhelm. Seems good. Endo and Embo, it's Embo, right? Yeah, Embo, Stoic, and Resolute seems pretty solid in here too, because it says when this unit completes an attack, if the defender was defeated to heal up to 2 damage from a unit. That's a convenient number that Qi'ra does, 2 damage to a unit when she gives it a shield. So you can give Embo a shield. If Embo attacks something and it dies, Embo's going to live because of the shield, and then you can just heal the Embo. And then guess what? You can just do that again. Just then Qi'ra, deal 2 damage to Embo again, put another shield. Pretty sick. Then we have the Tree Tender. It has grit. It becomes a 4-2 shielded. And then the client just has a shield inherently. And the client's mostly in here to like stay alive if we need to like stay alive against aggro things because of the client being able to put bounty on something. And then you claim it and heal 5. Another thing, spoiler alert, that you're going to start seeing now when I am playing red, a lot of my first decks that I'm playing that have the red color, I'm going to be probably playing Disabling Fang Fighter in the main deck in some number, just because I think there's going to be enough people trying to test out bounties and test out some of the new upgrades, and I'm just going to be, unfortunately, a little bit rude, just a little bit, and destroy them with my Disabling Fang Fighter that's in the main deck. On top of that, we've got some 2-cost spaceships. There really isn't a lot of great early game here. I put 1 Dr. Pershing in here just for fun. I was like, just try it out, I guess. And then, yeah, some spaceships, Inferno 4, Mercenary Gunship. And then Long Pike, standard good card. Baze, Grit, Sentinel, give it a shield. That's pretty sick. And then the cute thing that I'm doing in here is the Give Into Your Anger, which I think is actually going to be really strong with red Qi'ra. Because for 1 cost, I deal 1 damage to an enemy unit. And then I force my opponent's next action to be attack with that unit and attack a unit if possible. And my units are probably going to be shielded. So I'm going to have a shielded unit, and then I'm going to pay 1, deal 1 damage to my opponent's unit. It's going to have to attack into my shielded units. It dies. My unit still lives, and then I get another action again. And then you know what I can do? Use Qi'ra to put another shield on it. I think that's going to be sick. I think that's going to be so cool. Toro, really strong card. Yeah, make it a 3/3 with a shield. Yeah, seems good. Long Pike, good. All right, let's move on. Next, we've got Green Ray. Specifically, I've got Energy Conversion Lab here, though I don't think it matters too much because I have a solid amount of ambush things in here, and it depends on the meta, right? If you feel like aggro is too scary for you, but I don't think so. I think Ray's going to out-heal it, so I think you can probably play Energy Conversion Lab with Ray every time you're doing this combo, probably. So in here, Ray has an action, pay 1, give an experience token to something with 2 power or less. So we're playing a lot of things with 2 power or less. Surprise. We got R2, Restored Arc, Battlefield Marine, C3PO, Yoda, Concord, Dawn Interceptors, Sundari, Peacekeeper, Tech, Baze Malvis, Rose, the Nima Outpost Constables, Modded Cohort. So lots, like basically everything that is not Cobb Vanth, Rey Unit, the Marauder, Home One, and Luke Skywalker. All can be upgraded by Rey. We got some Restore on Yoda and Sundari Peacekeeper. Originally, when I was trying to build this, I was trying to put Force cards in there, but I just realized I just really didn't want to. I don't know. I just didn't want to. I wanted to play Ewing stuff, and the Force cards weren't lining up. And then I was like, then I'm incentivized to play lightsabers, and I just didn't want to. I put one tech in here just for fun, and I think that, hilariously enough, I might be cute and just like throw one tech into any deck that maybe if I can't figure out exactly what I want my last card to be, just, and it's a heroism deck, just be like, put a tech in there because I can just resource it, and then if I'm, or just put it in the side deck. And if you end up playing against a grindy control deck, you can just throw a tech into your deck. And if you draw and it becomes, even if you need to put it as a resource later, you can bring it out and then smuggle all your cards. Kind of cute. The Rey unit in here doesn't need to be in here. I just wanted to put it in here because I do have some number of non-heroism units that can get the shield and heal. But otherwise, it's just in here to be a 5-drop and be Rey, and I don't know, thematic. Also looks cool. And then, yeah, just top-end stuff. You know, the classic Luke Skywalker, U-Wing, Home One. We put 2 Rivals Fall, 2 Takedown in here as some form of removal while we're still trying to be a U-Wing deck. And then we've also got the ramp in the Spark of Hope and the Marauder. The Marauder really wants you to play 3-ofs currently because how it ramps is by something in your discard pile being the same name as a unit you control. So I tried to do 3-ofs mostly, unless I couldn't really fit it out ratio wise. And yeah, Cobb Vanth is a good card. So Cobb Vanth, Ewing Reinforcement, the deck's probably okay. All right, let's get to the next one. Let's see here. What do we got next? We're gonna go into green next. All right, for green, I've already made a whole video on this green Kylo deck, and there's probably some changes that could be done to it, and you can also pivot it in lots of different ways if you like as well. I'm not going to explain too much on this because I have a whole video on that. You can check that out after this one if you haven't checked it out already. Next, we're going to move to blue Bossk. I actually think, so I made this after all the cards were spoiled, but not all of them were on the database. But I really do think, and I'll probably make a video on it if you guys are interested, on a yellow Bossk deck. I think that a yellow Bossk deck is actually going to be pretty crazy because of the card that lets you search for any bounty. I think you're going to be able to do some, and there's the other card that lets you search for 2 non-unit cards in your top 10 cards. I think you're going to be able to make a really crazy deck that does a combo there. We're getting to, it's a little, I'm spoiling the sauce right now. Nobody build that deck before I put that video out, okay? But anyways, we got a blue Bossk deck here. Whew, we're trying to turbo speed this. It was hard. There's a lot, like you're gonna see in some of these decks where I'm trying to trim down cards, I'm trying to test out cards. You're gonna see a lot of 2-ofs because I'm not really trying to put 1-ofs in because to try out cards, you kind of need to see them, and you don't see them that often as 1-ofs. So a lot of cards I think could be considerable are in here at 2-of. Yeah, Death Star Stormtrooper. You could do some cute stuff with the Land Speeder. You play with the Land Speeder turn 1, you ping it with Bossk's effect. Then the next turn, I don't think you're going to get initiative, so you're probably going to take 3 to the base, but then you can just kill it, and then you get it out for free as a 4/3, and then play something else that turn 2. Pretty solid. I don't know what bounties to really play with Bossk, so we put 2 Deathmark, 2 Top Target, 2 Rich Reward. I feel like if this gets to be like a unit deck where we get to play some units, then Rich Reward could be pretty solid. We got standard good blue cards, the Inferno 4, Takedown, Vanquish. Hilariously, there's no Power of the Dark Side in here because I opted for Open Fire. I guess I wanted to be able to, if I put a bounty on something, I need to be able to kill that specific thing. So since I'm in red, decided for Open Fire instead of Power of the Dark Side where they could just kill something else instead. We did put calculated lethality in here because you can get an experience token if you defeat something with an upgrade on it, and we're gonna give bounties out. Maybe it works. Probably not that great. We have the other red bounty synergy cards with Jango Fett and Chrysanthemum. Maybe they're fine. And then even the punishing one in space, maybe it's fine. I didn't want to play a bunch of the punishing one because it is a unique unit, so you don't ever get to play 2 of it in space at the same time. And then I opted for Death Trooper because I can have it shoot a ground unit that maybe has a bounty on it. Kylo's TIE Silencer over Mercenary Gunship, though, if you don't want to have your deck cost $1 million, you could just do the Mercenary Gunship instead. This is just slightly more optimal because your opponent can't steal it. And yeah, and then I guess Ruthless Raider here on the top end, trying to have this be a unit-based deck. The client's in here because I am really high on the client. And then Toro's in here. There's not really super great bounty hunter synergy with him. You know, there's Jango and Chrysanthemum up here, but that's mostly it. All right, let's go to green Bo-Katan. Once again, heroism in green. Guess what? We've got Ewing Reinforcement. We've got Cobb Vanth. You're gonna see a lot of the same cards. Spark of Hope, Surprising, Marauder, Modded Cohort. Interesting. Very unique deck here, Travis. Yeah, I think Cobb Vanth and Ewing Reinforcement are sick. You can get Maz Kanata off of the Ewing Reinforcement, and then play 2 other cards, and then Chizo 1/3. That's cool. Other good heroism 2-drops, you know, who knows if Ketsu Onya will actually make it. Mostly because of Daring Raid. Daring Raid's going to be a pretty solid card, I think, paying 1 to deal 2 damage to unit. And with Bo-Katan maybe being able to do some pings once in a while. And I was trying to get some more Mandalorians in here. There's really not a ton of them. So we've really basically got the Sindari, Peacekeeper. We have Disabling Fang Fighters, Mandalorian unit. Pretty solid, actually. And then we've got Sabine and Ketsu Onya. You should probably be playing Han Solo instead of Bo-Katan, but this is what we've got here. Poe Dameron is really good. Cassian Andor is really good. Crate Dragon's in here for fun. You probably wouldn't want to play it. I just opted for a 30 health base here because I was like, I don't know if I need to ECL anything. But maybe you should to synergize with Bo-Katan Kryze's hero ability. I don't know. You probably should play Han Solo. I don't know if Bo-Katan is. Bo-Katan's going to be really hard to make like meta viable, I think. All right. Speaking of young Han, here he is. We opted for a yellow version here. I have a red version I'm cooking up right now too. It'll probably get its own solo video. Solo video. Interesting. Okay. Anyways, yeah. There's some other yellow cards that could probably get in here. There was like a Liberated Slaves, I think, or something. It's a yellow heroism unit. It's a 3/5 with no text. It's probably solid in here, just as you can play it on turn 1 with Han Solo here. And it's a 3/3. But we've got Cassian in here to do that as well. One of the cool things about this deck is you're going to be able to take advantage of Karabast, even though in this particular list that I have right here, I don't have Karabast in this list, but you could put it in your list if you want to. You could maybe put it in your list over the Heroic Sacrifices, probably. Maybe, I don't know, maybe over the Surprise Strikes. If you actually put it in over the Surprise Strikes, you could also opt into a For a Cause I Believe in list here, because then you'd have a really solid amount of heroism cards. You could take out the blasters, maybe. Take out the blasters and 1 Surprise Strike, and then you have Karabast, and then you have For a Cause I Believe in. Cute things you can do. You can play R2 for free on turn 1, and then just play R2 or C3PO, and then just draw the top card of your deck on turn 1, and you have 2 units on the board, and that's pretty sick. And you can play any of your 2-drops alongside R2. You can play any of your 3-drops on turn 1. You could play a Millennium Falcon on turn 1, deal 2 damage to it, hit their base for 3, and then the next turn just have it return to your hand if you're scared of them killing it. Like maybe they played a spaceship and you're like, oh, they're gonna kill my Falcon. No, you just return it to the hand if you wanted. Rogue Operative is basically a 4-power attacker, but you can play it on turn 1 with Young Han. You can play K2SO. Qi'ra on turn 2. You can play Poe Dameron on the 4 resources as a 6/4, which is pretty crazy. You can play Guerrilla Attack Pod on the 5 resource turn as a 6/4 because it has grit. It could be pretty solid here. You could I have Wrecker in here and Ezra in here because I'm like, I don't know exactly how I want to get this done, but I'm spending too many hours building these lists. So there you go. Here's a brief idea of what you could do with the red decks. All right, next we've got green. Oh, I skipped actually. I went to red. I was supposed to go to green next, but blue, green, red, yellow is what I wanted to do, but whatever, here we are. We're in green. All right, yellow, Jabba the Hutt. I literally made this deck because of Jabba and Dryden Voss. Dryden Voss says, when played, choose a captured unit guarded by a unit you control. You may play it for free under your control. And he's a 5/7 with shielded. If he doesn't do his when played effect, he's not that great. But Jabba, when he deploys, has another friendly unit capture an enemy non-leader unit and conveniently deploys on 7. So that was where the inspiration for this deck came from, is that hopefully you have a unit on the board. Hopefully it's something that will not get one-shotted by something. Hopefully it's a bounty hunter that used Relentless Pursuit to capture something, so it's shielded, and then you deploy Jabba. You could deploy Jabba, or you don't even have to deploy Jabba, because if you've used Relentless Pursuit and you already have the capture there, you already have it, then yeah, on 7, just deploy Dryden Voss and get the unit. But if you didn't even get to do that, if you just have a unit, you haven't captured anything yet, Jabba does that. And that's the reason you play these 2 colors specifically with this leader together. In here, we've got, like I said, Relentless Pursuit is the best capture thing we have in the game. It is crazy because if you play bounty hunters, and like we've got a lot, we got Boba Fett, Greedo. Greedo's probably not going to capture anything though. We got Toro, Forlom, Bossk. We even have Discerning Veteran is a bounty hunter itself. We have Reputable Hunter over here. That's a lot of bounty hunters that we're going to be able to capture a unit and then shield it. I think it's going to be quite strong. I think this deck might be legitimately solid. We've got Cobb Vanth in here because we're playing green. And then I put 2 Salacious Crumb in here. I didn't know how many I wanted in here or if I wanted them or not, but I figured what's cool with Salacious Crumb that maybe I haven't heard anybody talk about is that with Jabba's ability, you essentially can play Salacious Crumb for free every turn because you get the next unit you play gets 1 less. But you know, say you're on the 4 resource, you're on the 5 resource where you have your ambush units that can come out, or even, I mean, the first turn if you wanted to use Cloud Rider, but let's, you know, get realistic here. You had to spend your 4 resources to ambush in and kill the unit. But if you used Jabba's ability, gave it a bounty, then the next unit you play is free, but you have no resources, but you just play Salacious Crumb for free. Or you could play Greedo for free. And I think that's pretty solid. I think that's good enough. Frontline Shuttle is in here because I really couldn't figure out what I wanted to do, especially with the early drops in this deck. I really wasn't sure. But I know that there was that new Sentinel Gamorrean. It's basically a Gamorrean guard, but it's a 2-drop green, 3/2, and it has Sentinel if you have another green unit. We don't have a bunch of other green units, but we've got Cobb, we've got Reputable Hunter, but it's also just a 3/2, so maybe you just play it. So that's a consideration. The other cool thing that is awesome in this deck is Reputable Hunter. It says that if an enemy unit has a bounty, this costs 1 less to play. So on turn 1, you can just have Jabba give the other unit a bounty, and then just play a 3/4 on the first turn. That is a pretty good play. And then we've got the classic villainy yellow green stuff as Boba Fett, 7th Fleet Defender, and Darth Vader's in here. I only put 2 Darth Vader in here because we have to play Dryden Voss to do the combo. And so I was like, I mean, you'd probably find a way to just actually play 3 Vader still because he's so good. But I couldn't play 3 Vader and 3 Dryden Voss. I really just don't think so. Maybe we can. Who knows? And I put the price on your head bounty in here. Maybe you get to do some ramp, play a unit for free or for cheaper. And then yeah, Overwhelming Barrage and Relentless Pursuit are the only actual removal in this deck other than our ambush units. And then we have No Good to Me Dead to tap something for a couple turns. And then Reinforcement Walker because, you know, I love that card. All right, Red Moff Gideon. This was, I really don't know. I think Moff Gideon's going to be pretty hard to build really well. I tried to opt for like a unit-based thing. That's kind of Green's thing anyways, right? Ramp and have units. And so I tried to use Remnant Reserves in here too, so I'm trying to do I tried to do the cute trooper thing in here. We've got 1 general tag in here, just in case we get to do some Seasoned Shore Troopers, Death Star Stormtrooper, Incinerator Trooper, the Dark Trooper. I don't know. It's a little cute. We've also got some officials in here in the form of Veers, Moff Gideon's an official, and Cobb Vanth is an official, which should hopefully turn on our Sentinel for the Emperor's Royal Guard. We do have Super Laser Technician in here, which is kind of fun. You can use Super Laser Technician with Moff Gideon's ability to attack into something, and then it'll have 3 power. It's not entirely irrelevant. And if you have Veers on the board too, somehow, then it's 4 power. That's not the worst thing ever. I don't know. Like I said, Sibling Fang Fighters in here. Kylo's TIE Silencer is in here because we're in Red Villainy, but this could easily be Mercenary Gunship if you don't want to buy that card. I put 1 TIE Vanguard in here just because there's a lot of 3 cost and lower units. Almost all of the units, actually, other than TIE Interceptor, the Light Cruiser, and Darth Vader. I put the Light Cruiser in here. Thematically, I'm sure that it's probably you really shouldn't play it. I don't think it's actually good enough, but it's in here for fun. And anyways, here's a good starting point for you. I think the Incinerator Trooper is exclusively awesome with Moff Gideon. You can have it also buffed with General Veers and then Moff Gideon, and then it can attack for 4 and then not die because that's first strike essentially. So that's pretty cool. All right, next we've got Blue Hondo. All right. This deck is I don't think it's got it. I don't think that Hondo is going to be good enough for now. I think it's going to be pretty hard for it to be good. And I think that people are going to make mistakes trying to build this deck because my understanding of the mindset you should be in when you're trying to play a deck that's smuggling a lot is you have to think if you're smuggling, it needs to be because you're low on cards in hand, because you're playing all of your cards. So you need to be playing a lot of cards for smuggle to be good, in my opinion. Otherwise, if you have cards in your hand and you're smuggling, you're paying more to play the smuggle cards. Even if you're getting a small upside, like from Hondo getting an experience token, it's such a small upside. And you've got cards in your hand you can just play that are probably better. Just play them out. So I think that in order for you to be taking advantage of decks such as Lando and Hondo that want you to smuggle, you have to try to build your deck in a way where you're literally sorry about that. Bobby saw some people walk by. All right. As I was saying, you have to be playing all of your cards out so that you can take advantage of the smuggle. That's my card gamer optimization mind is telling me that's how you're supposed to play smuggle. So I'm trying to play a lot of cards. As you can see in here, we've got, how many is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 5 solid turn 1 plays. I mean, the collection's Star Troopers, not a great turn 1 play because you want to smuggle it to get the +1. Otherwise, it's pretty bad. But we're trying to just play cards. We want to play them. We've got 3 timely interventions here, which is going to be a card. I mean, we can smuggle it if we need to, but we also can just play it from hand, and that will help us just use our cards and go faster and give us ambush as well. And then you can also use timely intervention with super laser tech in here, which is pretty solid. Since we get to play lots of 2-drops and Hondo's green, guess what? Cobb Vanth again. Cobb Vanth is here. And then I just generically put Toro Calican in here. There's 1 other bounty hunter in this deck, so it's not for the effect, it's just because solid 3-drop. It's a 3/5. So it's in here. Lompike's in here. Solid unit, whether you smuggle it or not. Something you're going to notice here is we've got, how do I say her name? Sugi. Sugi. You'll notice Sugi is a double aspect blue. Why would I put this in here? Well, it's because the smuggle is only a single blue. So it's essentially kind of like smuggling it for normal cost. Though she does only have Sentinel if an enemy unit is upgraded. I don't know. It's kind of like having a 4th Lompike. Or a 4th and 5th Lompike, but maybe has Sentinel if they have something upgraded, I guess, because Lompike smuggles for 5. So, I don't know. I figured it's worth trying out. Then, yeah, 2 Rivals Fall, 2 Takedown, 2 Power the Dark Side, and then 3 Overwhelming Barrage as kind of the removals. And then, of course, we got Darth Vader in here. Get us out any units. Plenty of villainy units in here to get out with Darth Vader. And then I decided to put the First Light in here because I thought, like, it's probably got to be in this deck if you're playing it. So, yeah, it gives all of your units grit, that are all of your non-leader units. And then, but to play it from the smuggle, it's the same cost, but you have to deal 4 damage to a friendly unit, and you have to do that. If you don't have a unit on the board, you cannot smuggle it. So, Lompike, Toro, and Sugi, baby Darth Vader, are your units that you can do that to, and then they stay alive. And then it has grit too. Instantly has grit when you bring the First Light out. So these are my thoughts on this deck. I don't really want to talk too much more about it. It's got Cobb Vanth in it, so an Overwhelming Barrage and Darth Vader. It might be okay. All right, now we've got yellow Hero Boba Fett. All right. This is a difficult deck for me to build as well. It is, once again, a U-Wing reinforcement deck, and we've got ramp. We have almost all of the ramp. We've got 3 Spark of Hope, we've got 3 Resupply, and then we've got 2 Marauder. We're not playing the bounty that ramps, and then we've got 2 Marauder. And then we've got U-Wing and Han Solo as 7 drops, and then we've got 2 home ones. We've got Enfys Nest in here because it's ambush. Basically, this is ambush the deck. I do have Chewbacca in here also as a Sentinel because we can do that with Boba Fett's effect as well. We can play Chewbacca and then give it 4 power for that turn. And then if our opponent wants to attack in it, it's going to be pretty rough. They probably just don't attack because it's probably going to kill whatever they attack with, and then we get to attack their base for 4 power with Chewbacca. I think that's pretty cool combo there. We've got some other ambushes with the Cloud Rider, and then the modded cohort and the Azatuk Liberator gunship. Also, Han Solo has ambush. So this is really Boba Fett. Might as well said if you play a ambush or sentinel unit, give it +1/+1 or a +1 power. The thing to know though here is that it says when you play a unit that has 1 or more keywords, you may exhaust this leader. If you do, give a friendly unit +1 for the phase. So you technically could play an ambush unit, and if it already has enough power, to defeat whatever it's trying to defeat, you can give that temporary power bonus to one of your other units that are standing up from last turn. So keep that in mind. We've got the spare the target because it's waylay, but it collects a bounty. Surprise strike because good yellow card. I put Boba Fett's armor in here just kind of for fun too, since we're playing a Hero Boba Fett. Maybe this gets to be pretty crazy over here too, and our Boba Fett leader never dies. The patrol wing here could probably just, and probably should be actually a third Marauder just because it has built-in ambush. But like I said, this is just kind of like a look at this and see what you want to do with this type of list. I think I'd probably actually, yeah, just take both of these patrol wings out and just go up to a third Enfys Nest and a third Marauder, honestly, now that I'm looking at this list again. All right, here we go. This is one I'm very excited to show you all. It's double green Hunter. Now, let me just warn you, okay? I am certain this deck is bad, okay? If you play this deck and you lose, understand that I warned you that this deck is bad. But I think this might be about as good as Hunter can be with set 2 and set 1 cards, all right? I really feel like I'm pretty excited. I really feel like I did a good job here. Let me know your thoughts on this deck particularly. The purpose of this deck is, as you can see down here, we've got the Endless Legions. If you don't know what Endless Legions does, it's the reason that I made this deck. It's a 14 cost double green card. Reveal any number of resources you control. Play each unit revealed this way for free, one at a time. So you're basically saying, I play this card, I win the game. You're playing 3 of this because you need to see it, and also because Spark of Rebellion exists and your opponent discards those, if it's ever coming up. So basically what I wanted to do is I was like, okay, what's the Exodia combo for Endless Legions? Well, it's Relentless, because then it stops the first event my opponent plays each phase. And then I was like, probably Bodhi Rook and or Regional Governor, so I put 1 of each. I really wanted to have 2 of each of the combo pieces to make it really more likely to do them all. But it was so hard to trim this deck down. I really think this is exactly what this deck will look like in its optimized set 2 version. But we've got Regional Governor to call a card, because we're going to get to look at their hand with Bodhi Rook. We're going to discard an event, or probably an event. And then we're probably going to say whatever thing if there's anything else that sucks for us, then we can play Regional Governor, and then Regional Governor just says what that card is. And then on top of that, we've got an out of aspect redemption as well to just heal our base, just in case if we got lucky enough that we're getting to play Endless Legions against a deck, that if they have stuff on the board that can lethal us before we lethal them, the redemption maybe saves us and heals us up so that we defeat our opponent first. I really think that's the kind of the combo. Regional Governor, Bodhi Rook, redemption, and then 2 Relentless. The most important thing is honestly Relentless, though, for sure, because Relentless automatically stops the first event, and the most dangerous thing your opponent can do to you is play a crazy event like Evacuate or Super Laser Blast. So it has to be Relentless. Relentless will be summoned 100% of the time that Endless Legions gets played for the rest of existence, unless you're trying to lose the game. Whew, okay, what else do we have in here? We do have, actually, basically every ramp card we can play in this that's not out of aspect except the bounty. The bounty is far too slow. We cannot do that in this deck. So we've got 3 Spark of Hope. We've got 3 Resupply. We've got 3 Command. And we've got 3 Marauders. And then we have 2 of the, how do I say this card's name? Whoa. Our Quentin's Assault Cruiser. We're going to call it the Assault Cruiser. This has a ship that has ambush that when you defeat it, unit, a non-leader unit, there's going to be maybe a space leader unit at some point. Put the defeated unit into play as a resource under your control. So you get a ramp, and this is the only deck that's ever really going to care about ramping when you play an 8 cost spaceship. So we got to put some number of them in here. So we got 2 of them. We can kill their fire spray and then turn it into our resource. So that's the plan there. And then the really unfortunate thing about Hunter is that his effect requires you to be having unique units that die. It is very unfortunate that, so this is the combo, okay? So if you haven't read Hunter, you pay 1, you tap him, reveal a resource you control. If it shares a name with a friendly unique unit, return the resource to the owner's hand and then put the top card of your deck into play as a resource. So it is just card draw, but only if you have a resource that is the same name as a unique unit you control. Well, for that, we've got R2-D2, we've got C-3PO, we've got Colonel Lauren, we've got Cobb Vanth, and Bright Hope. I only was able to fit 2 of it in here. We had to put 3 ofs. We had to try to maximize as many 3 ofs in here as we could. I put Echo in here as a 3 of because it has Restore. We're literally only playing Echo in here because it's a unique and because it has Restore. It says you can discard a card, give 2 experiences to a unit that has the same. Does it say unique unit? Please don't tell me it says unique unit. No, it's just, yeah, a unit in play with the same name as the discard card. You're not ever going to do that, but it's just a Restore 2 that's a unique unit that maybe we get to draw. And the reason why, you got to be asking yourself, why do you care about using Hunter's effect? Well, part of the problem about being a deck that's trying to ramp to 14 resources is you have to resource every single turn. So you're really only drawing 1 card a turn. And then you have your ramp cards that are basically discarding a card from your hand. So for turn, I draw 2 cards. I have to, one of them's resupply, one of them's something else. I have to set 1 down and then I have to play resupply. You know, so you need some kind of card draw. And so we have that in Hunter's ability, maybe sometimes. Command acts as ramp and hopefully probably removal. It can also return a card from our discard pile to our hand if we need it to for some reason. So that's an option. It also can give experiences tokens to something. If we need to actually kill something, not ramp, you can give experiences tokens, kill something. All right, Travis, we're going too long. We have to really get through this. Tech is in here because we're going to possibly run out of cards in our hand. So we might need to literally, like, we're at a bunch of resources because we ramp so much and we need to just play tech and then use its effect to smuggle out one of our resources that we played earlier. It might literally just happen. Ewing Reinforcement is just Ewing Reinforcement. We're trying to not die on our way to 14. And we got, by the time we get to Ewing Reinforcements, we have to put that as many as we've ramped to, then we have to get that many more to get to Endless Legions. Whew. Agent Callus is in here because it's unique. It has ambush. And maybe it draws us a card. There's arguments that could be made for maybe I play 1 less Ewing Reinforcement or something and put Callus up to 3 so that it's a unique, so that there's a likely chance that maybe we can draw it from our resources with Hunter. Cobb Vanth is in here because Cobb Vanth exists and is good. The Enterprising Lackeys are really cool, and they are kind of our saving grace with this deck, with us trying to essentially discard our hand to get up to 14 resources. Because when defeated, you can basically defeat a resource you control to put them in your resource zone, and then you can just play them again because they have smuggle. So very cool. And that's it. That's the whole deck. C-3PO and R2-D2 are really in here also kind of as card draw, but also because we don't really have that many choices of unique units that we can play on turn 1. So it's really sketchy deck. Like I said, it's bad, but it might be, if you pull it off, it'll be really awesome. And I think it's about as good as Hunter's going to get right now. Okay. We're getting We're getting there. 5-0, 50 minutes. We're 50 minutes in here. Jeez. All right. Did we get through everything? No, we didn't. We have yellow. We have to... Oh my goodness, gamers. I am so sorry. We're almost there. Yellow. I've got double yellow. Cad Bane here. I think you just say this is Boba Fett and the deck's probably automatically better and you just put fire sprays in instead. But Cobb Vanth is pretty cool with when you play an Underworld card. Underworld card. Keep that in mind. Not just Underworld unit. So McClunky basically does kind of like 4 damage. Yeah, your opponent gets to choose the unit that they control that they deal 1 damage to, unfortunately. But without that, I think Cobb would probably... Or Cobb? I'm so on Cobb Vanth. It's Cad Bane now. No. So... We got Crafty Smuggler in here, just, yeah, good 2-drops. Mercenary Gunship because we need 2 drops. And then Cloud Rider because Underworld. It's insane. Really good card. You'll notice in here that I have 1 Final Showdown and I have 1 New Adventure. And it's just because, like, yeah, they're double yellow cards and they're good. But I can't figure out how to trim this deck any further. We've also got Dryden Voss in here. Because we are playing yellow, we get to play Relentless Pursuit. Because our leader is a bounty hunter and we're playing yellow villainy, we have so many bounty hunters available to us. Relentless Pursuit is going to go off. It's going to steal something, put a shield on the bounty hunter. And if you're 7 resources, you can play Dryden Voss and get to play that unit that you captured. We've got kind of the standards of Bossk, Cantina Bouncer in here. You'll notice 4 llamas in here. Again, we decided to put some Zuckuss in here just for fun. You know, maybe it gets to be a 7/7 at 5 cost, and that's pretty cool. Chain Code Collector is in here. It probably doesn't need to be in here. We've probably have enough ambush with Bossk and 4-Lom, but you know, we're gonna try some stuff out. Hunter of the Axian Brood is probably doesn't need to be in here either, but it is better than Swoop Racer for this deck. Yeah, Bodhi Rook and Boba Fett and Total Calican are probably good enough. The interesting thing is if the Hunter doesn't get shield, then Total Calican just kills Hunter of the Haxian Brood cleanly and stays alive, unfortunately. So those are some considerations. We've still got Waylay in here because we are playing a yellow deck that is not Heroism. And then Enfys Nest is in here also just because I was like, I love Enfys Nest. I just can't. If I'm playing yellow, I'm trying to figure out how to put Enfys Nest in there. I'm probably slightly too high on Enfys Nest, but we got a lot of ambush units, so maybe there's some value to be had. Also, obviously, Cunning and Bodhi Rook. So yeah, like you'll see in here, lots of 2-ofs. You can definitely just cut some of the 2-ofs, adjust some ratios, push some cards out. Yeah, definitely just take Chain Code Collector out and put another Bodhi Rook in. Put another Bossk in, take the Haxian Broods out, maybe give a Cantina Bouncer, maybe a second New Adventure. New Adventure is probably better in Boba Fett decks because you can do that with your Fire Spray. But here we are. All right, next up we have Red Lando. This deck could certainly probably be tweaked even further. I think that I could be high on this, and this is me saying this with literally 0 actual games played with this deck and most of these decks. I do think this is going to be pretty good. I think Lando's going to be pretty good. I think somebody's going to figure out eventually. This black one certainly should not be in here. And I'm sure this tech probably shouldn't be in here, but sometimes I get a little too cute with the deck builds, especially the theory crafted before the set comes out type of deck builds. I love discarding my opponent's hand, so that's why Pillage is in here. That's also why Cripple Authority is in here. This deck, Cripple Authority was literally made because they made this Lando leader. I'm sure of it. I'm sure they made Lando, and then they made Cripple Authority because this is the deck. There's a couple other cards in the set that say if you have less resources, do this thing. There's a 4-cost spaceship right now, right? Let's hit edit on this real quick so I can show you the 4-cost spaceship. It's a Heroism red spaceship. Let's get into space here. Come on, turbo speed this. Yeah, Valiant Assault Ship. On attack, if the defending player controls more resources than you, this gets +2, so it's a 5/4. And it has Saboteur, so it ignores the Sentinels. Not terrible. It doesn't have Smuggle for Lando, but you can't smuggle everything with Lando. You're going to destroy all your resources and then never play any cards again. That's the thing to consider too when you're playing this deck, is you can't smuggle everything. So, and the other thing is you want to play so many low to the ground cards, because when you're de-ramping yourself, defeating a resource to play your stuff for 2 cheaper, you're going to have to play cheaper cards. So, you're going to notice, whoa, we got almost 2 rows here of 2-cost cards. And it's because you're going to have to play a lot of 2-cost cards. And then you're going to smuggle as you're running out of cards. So you're just going to play a bunch of cards. You're going to be playing cards to your resources every turn. You're going to play cards till you run out of cards, basically. And then you're going to start basically playing whatever you draw. And then you're going to be smuggling whatever the rest that you can afford is each turn. That's how you want to play Lando. And then, yeah, we've got some of the top end of Poe and Millennium Falcon, essentially. And then K2SO's in here. And then the cool thing is with Cassian will get readied. You can play Cassian readied on turn 3 if you really wanted to, but I don't recommend doing the Lando smuggles that soon. But though maybe you can. Maybe you can if you want. But yeah, and then Hotshot Blaster's in here. You can play it from your hand or smuggle it. Either way is really solid. Yeah, and McClunky's in here. There's, yeah, a few Underworlds. You've got a ship up here. You've got L3. Greedo. McClunky probably gets taken out of here, honestly. Yeah, McClunky's fake. I put this in here because McClunky was looking good, but yeah, we just take that out here, and you just make some of these other ratios better. 3rd Sabine, 3rd Gunship, and maybe a 3rd Cripple Authority. Or a Spare the Target. Anyways, that's my TED Talk on Lando. Fennec Shand now. We got Red Fennec. This is going to look goofy because there's going to be so many of the same cards. You're going to see a lot of the same cards. I chose red for a lot of these heroic leaders. I'm so sorry. Fennec here lets you give ambush to units, which means you got to play units that cost 4 or less, which means, yeah, you got to play a lot of cheaper units if you want to use her effect. I don't know how good this is going to be. It would be better with Overwhelm units. Fortunately, K2 is Overwhelm. Yeah, Rogue Operative gets to attack with 4 power, essentially. The Starwing Scout gets to see constructed play with this, because for 4 resources, you can play a 4 power space unit that'll ambush something and kill something. And if you have the initiative, you get to draw 2 cards. That's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool. And then, yeah, your Green Squadron A-Wings get to be 3 power space removal as well, that maybe stay alive sometimes. And then we're playing yellow, so we have Surprise Strike. We've got a decent amount of red cards, so we got Fighters for Freedom. And then Cassian's in here, because Cassian is, I think, really awesome. I think really, really awesome card in this deck, in every Red Heroism deck for the foreseeable future. And then Spare the Target, because it's, you know, like I said, Waylay, but for bounties as well. We also put 2 Waylays in here too, because I felt like we needed some type of removal, because we're trying to be like an aggro deck, I think, that beats aggro decks, because you just kill all of their units eventually, but then you just keep having your units alive, maybe. Yeah, and then Daring Raids to clean up anything that you need to clean up. I think it's probably not terrible, but I don't know. Who knows? Not me. All right, next we've got Blue Mandalorian. Whew. This was another deck that actually was really hard to build, because there's so many, like, as you're building it, you realize there's just like 70 cards you just want in the deck. And yeah, it's really difficult. So we've got Hotshot Blaster in here, as you can see, out of aspect, but that's because we can smuggle it, because we were playing yellow and it has a yellow smuggle cost. I wasn't sure exactly what upgrades I wanted to play, but I did want to play some of This Is the Way to search for Mandalorians and upgrades. So we've got Mandalorian's Rifle, we've got 2 Mandalorian Armor, We've got a rich reward. The blaster is also an upgrade, so you can find that off of This Is the Way. And then I really wanted to put Electro Staff in here for Grogu because of the effect that says when the attached unit is defending, the attacker gets -1. Right? It's -1 power. Yeah. And it becomes a 2/2. So then Grogu gets out of takedown range. And if they want to attack Grogu, it's going to be really annoying. And then you just exhaust stuff with Grogu. There's only 2 Grogus in this list, but that's because I can't. It's hard. I promise you, it's really hard to figure these lists out. We needed some critical mass of Mandalorian units in order to get use out of some of the Mandalorian synergy here, such as the Mandalorian Warrior or the Armorer, and the Mandalorian Armor. So we got a few of them in here. We got some of the less exciting ones like the Mandalorian Warrior and the Protector of the Throne, but those two kind of synergize together because you can put the upgrade on the Protector, and then also the Protector's a 3/5 that has Sentinel. It's not terrible. You can also get the upgrades from the Rich Reward bounty that maybe you place. We've also got Snapshot Reflexes on here, which Snapshot Reflex is at 3 in every Mandalorian deck for the rest of time, probably. And then, yeah, I didn't know what to do at the top end, really. So, yeah, 2 Lukes is what you get. Probably should be playing 3 Lukes, but I was like, how do we play a blue-yellow Mandalorian deck and not put the actual Mandalorian in here? Even though its effect is really not that impactful. Sure, you can super shield up a Grogu, or maybe you can super shield up something else that you've really upgraded, but then your opponent can just waylay it and take down it, power the dark side it. So it's not that exciting. The Mandalorian is a Sentinel and 5/6, which is pretty solid. It won't be able to get returned to your hand with Cunning like Obi-Wan. Like, well, what happens to Obi-Wan? So maybe it's okay. Yeah, Concord Dawn Interceptors, and then the Razor Crest has Restore, which is not bad. Yeah. This is about it. Yeah, and then it was really hard to find the 2 drops in here. Cloud Rider's really good. But then, yeah, we had to find some 2 drops in here to be able to put upgrades on, because you have to be playing a unit on turn 1 if you're playing some kind of upgrade stuff. I really feel like. Yeah. So that is the blue Mando deck. All right. Now, we've got Dr. Aphra. This was also a very difficult deck to make, but I think it actually, as I was building it, it turned out quite interesting. And this will be an interesting one to end on. If you made it all the way here, leave a comment that says something like "hour plus!" exclamation point. Yeah, that's crazy. I appreciate you. You're insane. Here we go. Dr. Aphra, Energy Conversion Lab. What we've got here is, I was thinking, I really don't think she's supposed to necessarily be good this set, but I was like, what could we even do? And I was like, probably the best thing we can do is use Palpatine's Return with Aphra. I was like, that's got to be like the best thing. I don't know. The unfortunate thing there is you don't get the max value of the discount, right? You only get a 1 discount on your Vader or your Maul. But, like, I don't know. Like, I just can't think of anything better. And so, here we are. Some cute stuff we're doing in here, as well as we've got Street Gang Recruiter that says, when played, you may return an Underworld card from your discard pile to your hand. Fun fact is it's an Underworld card, so it can return itself to your hand, and then just loop that forever. But yeah, lots of Underworld cards in here, so we can do that. Because we're also playing so many Underworld cards, we've got McClunky in here, which I think should be pretty solid. We've got the other good true drops of Cloud Rider, Mercenary Gunship, Greedo's great. Obviously, Boba Fett and 7th Fleet Defender, no surprise here. I wasn't sure how this would play into aggro, so we've got Consortium Star Vipers and Energy Conversion Lab. We've also got Cobb Vanth, obviously, because we've got green, which can get us some of these solid 2-drops. We've got Toro, Calican, and we've got a solid number of bounty hunters with Boba Fett, 4-Lam, and Bossk, of course, all at 3 ofs. And Overwhelming Barrage, of course. We got Waylay and Overwhelming Barrage. No surprise here. And then we've got Enfys Nest as like our other 6-drop instead of Palpatine's Return. And then we've got Darth Vader, Fennec Shand, and Maul. Now, I don't know what ratios these should be at, especially the top end, but I figured it's probably good enough for now. Maybe if you really want to maximize your chances of Palpatine's Return, you go to literally all the way 3 Maul. But I figured for testing purposes, especially trying to learn the deck, we gotta go 2 Shand, 2 Maul, so we can see them and see what it feels like. And yeah, this deck might actually not be terrible. It might be surprising. Yeah. There's also some really cute stuff you can do if you wanted to, I don't know, think somewhere in the future. Is with Street Gang Recruiter and with Bounty Hunter Crew. Those are really good cards that interact with Dr. Aphra because they get stuff from your discard pile to your hand. And Dr. Aphra, while on the leader side, is constantly discarding cards off the top of your deck. So you can kind of get them back. Get whatever card back you need. I'm sure somebody will figure out something really cool with those cards, maybe in set 3. I don't know if it'll be able to do anything here in set 2, but we'll see. Oh, okay. We did it. I think we did it. We got all the way through. That's 18 decks, I believe. Let me know which one was your favorite. Let me know if this sparked any ideas for you. I might make another video of just some other ideas, some deck building ideas for you all to look out for. Not that ideas that I do not have time to try to build all of the deck ideas that I already have, but maybe I'll give you guys some deck ideas and in another video. But let me know what you thought about these 18 decks, and if there's any of them that you're excited to try out now. And wow, if you're hearing my words right now, I massively appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for spending your precious time with me. Yeah, I'll see you in the next one.